It's our first iteration of Sabres After Dark for the year, and the Sabres are about to put a doozy of a roster out on the ice. We'll talk about it coming up here on a preview episode of the Locked On Sabres podcast.
Your Locked On Sabres, your daily podcast on the Buffalo Sabres. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome in, and thanks for making Locked On Sabres your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast. It includes our YouTube channel where you can watch the show. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode of Locked On Sabres brought to you by FanDuel. Get started with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet. You get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Sneaky Joe DiBiase coming to you on a game day. Sabres and Kings in Los Angeles, a 10:30 puck drop tonight against a very good Kings team that we'll talk about. We'll preview for you what the Kings have in store. We'll talk about the game that they played earlier in the season. If you'll remember, that was a game that everybody loves to remind you from the Sabres. And I actually agree with them on this front that they should have won that hockey game, but got a little unlucky, allowed a couple of early third period goals, and then a bad third period penalty late by Mattias Samuelsson, if you'll remember, allowed the Kings to win that game. So the Sabres looking to right the wrong tonight in LA, but it's going to be a tough task given what they're about to put on the ice. More on that coming up in just a moment. We'll also look through the opponent, what they've been up to since the Sabres last played them, where they sit in the standings, what they're going to do in goal tonight, and then looking at some of the odds for tonight. And what the Sabres have is some odds that are very long. For a hockey game where you're not like one of the worst teams in the league, they're a pretty sizable underdog in this game. So a little bit more on that later on today as well. If you would like to become a part of our Locked On Sabres text club, you can sign up by going to joinsubtext.com/LockedOnSabres. If you missed our latest episode talking about the salary cap and what the Sabres could have money-wise, as the cap's probably going to go up into the high 90s next year in terms of millions of dollars, and then the year after it's going to go well over $100 million. One, not even correction, but more of an add-on to our conversation from that. When going through the RFAs, Peterka, Quinn, Levi, Byram, I omitted Ryan McLeod, and I needed to include him because while he's probably not going to be big money, he's in a different place now than when the Sabres traded for him. When the Sabres traded for him, I was thinking a couple $1 million, nothing crazy, small 3-year deal maybe. But I don't know, he might be playing his way into a long-term extension with the Buffalo Sabres. So he needs to be mentioned in that math. They would still have a ton of money left over as we calculated. I don't think McLeod's going to make a huge difference on that, but he could be in store for like a $3.5-4 million contract. Maybe even a little bit more than that coming up this offseason. So more on that, though, on our last episode, if you would like to check that out. Let's get to tonight's game and some kind of disappointing updates. I'm surprised, too, because all indications when hearing from Lindy Ruff, talking to Lindy Ruff, the practice read that we had was that Tage Thompson and Alex Tuch were going to play tonight. That was the expectation. And that, at the moment, appears to not be happening. At time of recording, the Sabres are practicing or have just wrapped up practicing, so Lindy has not spoken yet. This could change by game time tonight. There's still, 8 hours from when we're recording to when the game starts, so you could get some changes in there. But how it looks right now is that Thompson and Tuch are not going to play in this game. That looks like what's going to happen. No Thompson, no Tuch. Thompson was on the ice for practice again, but did not take line rushes. Tuch was absent completely. So that would indicate that they're both going to be out. And what the Sabres are left with and what Lindy Ruff has thrown together are some of the wildest lines that I can remember going into a Sabres game in years. They are wild. As you might expect, you're already missing Jordan Greenway in the middle of your lineup. And now you're missing arguably your two best forwards. So with that being said, it's going to look a little ugly. But I put these lines in our group chat, our text club, and like I can't read all of them because some of them have some swearing. But first response was woof with like 9 O's. The next one, oh, we're going to get smoked. Next one, I'm going to bed with a 0% expectation that they'll win. So hoping for a pleasant surprise. Our texters are not optimistic given what this lineup looks like. But here it is. If you're watching along on YouTube, put the graphic up. We'll read through it for our audio listeners as well. What Lindy has together in this for this game, how it appears right now, is I don't even know what to call the top line, what to call the second line, what to call the third line. I put this together as Lance Lysowski listed it from the Buffalo News. I trust him on that. Who knows? When we show up to the game, which line's going to play the most minutes, your guess is as good as mine. We'll start at the top, though. Ryan McLeod centering JJ Peterka and Isak Rosen. So Rosen up from Rochester, first game of the year, and he's going right up to the top with McLeod and Peterka. Maybe there's a late Tuch ends up playing, just wasn't on the ice for, maintenance reasons. But for now, it looks like Rosen is the guy that's going to play and that he's going to go right up there with Ryan McLeod and JJ Peterka. Big test for him because while that's not a very exciting top line, I mean, it's a third line center, a Rochester guy, and then a regular top line guy. That's not typically a first line. But Rosen getting a really good opportunity. Like he's not going to play many games with the Sabres this year where he gets a chance with better line mates than that. I mean, you wouldn't expect that he'd all that often play with Peterka. McLeod, maybe he would. But it's a pretty good opportunity, I think, for Rosen to produce offensively right away. The next line, Dylan Cousins centering Zach Benson and then Sam Lafferty. Kind of strange line. Again, it's kind of a top 6 line because Cousins is the center and Benson is on it. But then I got Lafferty, who has spent almost the entire year on the 4th line. He's getting bumped up into the top 6. I don't really want to call it the top 6. So we'll see what you get. I don't know what the combo is going to look like there. Maybe Lafferty physically with his speed, he could open up some space for Benson and Cousins, but wouldn't be all that optimistic about that line scoring a bunch of goals. The third line is the one that I'm actually most curious about. Jiri Kulich getting his first game of the year at center. Kulich moves to center. And he did that in Rochester. He's done that at the junior level. He has done that throughout his life. He's been both. He has not played much center, really, if at all, with the Buffalo Sabres. But he moves to the middle. He is going to center Jack Quinn and Jason Zucker. And I kind of like the possibility of that line. In theory, those are all players that should be able to score. But Kulich, as much as I've liked his game this year, he does only have 1 goal and 0 assists on the season. It's not like he's filling the stat sheet. Quinn, of course, has been a massive disappointment. And then Zucker has been very exciting, but Zucker's been playing on a very different type of line. Zucker's been playing on a grinded out, physical, defensive line that's also been getting their chances. And that is not the type of line he's playing on here. This is a finesse line that is going to try to possess the puck and score goals. And you might think they're lacking in their own end. So very different type of line, and I wouldn't just want to assume Zucker will get the same results. But that's a curious line. Kulich centering Quinn and Zucker. And then line 4 is a typical 4th line, only one that really makes a lot of sense, right? Peyton Krebs with Nicholas Aube-Kubel and Beck Malenstein. So those are your crazy 4 lines for this game. And then on the blue line, Dahlin with Byram, Power with Jokiharju. So Jokiharju comes back into the lineup, goes up to the top 4. I personally do not like that. I would have put Jokiharju down in the 3rd pair, kept Jacob Bryson in the top 4. That doesn't appear to be happening. Now, Bryson is going to stay in the lineup as a 3rd pair defenseman with Connor Clifton. Clifton staying in, not Dennis Gilbert. Also a little bit of a surprise there. Nothing crazy. And then Luukkonen's going to be in goal with James Reimer being his backup. So that's your lineup. No Tage, no Tuch. McLeod is your top center. Kulich down the middle. Rosen and Lafferty in the top 6. Just good luck to the Buffalo Sabres. I do not have high expectations. I think, and I'll get to this a little bit when we look at some of the lines and the Sabres as an underdog in this game. I think looking at that lineup, the best opportunity the Sabres have to win this hockey game is to lock it down, is to come into this game planning to play the trap, stifle the Kings, get in front of shooting lanes, just simple plays, chip it in. Don't try to do anything too fancy. 50-50 pucks. Maybe you err on the conservative side of things. Play a safe defensive game and try to get out of there with a great goaltender performance, 2-1. That to me is your game plan. The best game plan for tonight's game is you've got good defensive players throughout the lineup. Try to lock it down. Try to get a big game out of Luukkonen and limit chances as much as you can and hope to steal a win 2-1. That to me might be the best opportunity for the Sabres to win this game, given what they have in terms of a lineup. Power play, by the way, we don't really know. I'd like to see Kulich get more of an opportunity there because I think shooter-wise, missing Tage, you're probably going to need Kulich to help you out there. So that's what the Sabres are looking at. When we come back, what about the Kings? And then we'll look at some of the odds for tonight's game, and we'll continue to look ahead to a 10:30 puck drop at LA. All coming up here on the Locked On Sabres podcast. Today's episode of the Locked On Sabres podcast is presented by PrizePicks, the best place to get real money sports action. Over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings. PrizePicks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long on PrizePicks. PrizePicks puts their members first. All withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. They now offer Venmo for quick and easy deposits and withdrawals into your account throughout the sports season. They have the best fantasy insurance policy in the game so that your lineups stay in play even if one of your players gets injured. If your player leaves in the first half and doesn't return, PrizePicks will keep your lineup live. They've also invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. So you can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. They want to give you as many opportunities to win as possible. Sign up today, get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive that $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Download the app today, the PrizePicks app today. Use code LOCKEDONNHL. Get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Download the app. Use code LOCKEDONNHL. $50 instantly after you play your $5 lineup. PrizePicks. Run your game. Today's episode of the Locked On Sabres podcast is also presented by Gametime. Hey, if you're out in the Southern California area, maybe you want to go to this game, head up to LA. Maybe you're taking a trip out during the Bills bye week out to Southern California. You could go to the Ducks Sabres game or the Sharks Sabres game. Check it all out on the Gametime app. All your opportunities to go to the game. Gametime has new features called Gametime Picks. Makes getting tickets to your favorite teams even easier. They filter out all the fluff with Gametime Picks to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands and thousands of tickets. Gametime, they have all the features like panoramic views from your seat in the app before you buy. So if you want to look at, especially for hockey, you never know what that angle is going to be like on the glass. You don't know, if it's going to be distorted. You don't know how high up you're going to be. You're going to be above the netting, below the netting on the glass. So you can check out all of that. It'll be available to you on the Gametime app. They have their lowest price guarantee. Gametime will credit you 110% of the difference if you find a ticket for less. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNHL. You're going to get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download Gametime today. What time is it? Gametime. Back on the Locked On Sabres podcast, the Sabres and the Kings. 10:30 puck drop in LA. We'll see what we get from the Sabres tonight with a very depleted lineup from what we were just looking at. How about their opponent? The Kings for tonight's game. The Sabres met the Kings a little bit earlier on in the season. In fact, it was their first real home game of the year, not counting the Prague games. They came back from Prague. They did not look good out there against the Devils. They came home, and they looked great. They looked great against the Kings, but they lost the hockey game, as previously mentioned. A couple of mistakes in that game. 3-1 was the final score. They also didn't score many goals, right? So you score one goal, you're asking to get beat. Since then, the Kings have been pretty good. They are 10-6-3. They are second in their division. only trailing the Vegas Golden Knights, and they are only down by 1 point. They have a +6 goal differential on the season. Not bad. And for what feels like the 6th year in a row, the Los Angeles Kings are one of these teams that are dominating possession, that always on the stats look like they should be getting better results than they are, but you kind of know why they're not. Because the Kings, outside of Anze Kopitar, are a team that forever, really, I think, has been lacking that high-end offensive skill. Even when they won Stanley Cups, a big reason why they did that was a possession game with a great blue line and a goalie that got hot, which would have been Jonathan Quick a couple of times. But otherwise, they're never the most flashy team, dangerous team. They're good. They have some good players, but they are not terrifying like they're going to beat you up and down the ice. But that being said, their numbers look good again. Where do they rank this year in some certain categories when it comes to advanced numbers? Expected goals for percentage on the year. The Kings are the second best team in the league at 5-on-5 this season. How about shot attempts? Corsi for percentage. They are number 5 in the NHL this year. What about just straight up shots? How many shots do you get at 5-on-5? The Kings rank number 3 in the NHL. And then goals for percentage at 5-on-5, what percentage of the goals did they score? They rank number 5 in the NHL. So the Kings are looking really good again, but here they are sitting in second and kind of near a 500 record, but they get games to overtime, which makes the record look a little bit better. And who's leading them in scoring again? Anze Kopitar. Point a game. That 21 points in 19 games. No surprise. Even at 37, he's their best player. Adrian Kempe, Alex Lafreniere, not Lafreniere, the Rangers player, Lafreniere, 9 goals each leads the team. So a couple of guys in the top 6 that are looking pretty good. Quentin Byfield will produce a little bit of offense. Philip Deneau and Kevin Fiala. Fiala is a little bit disappointing this year. I would expect them to pick it up. It's just, it's a pretty good hockey team, but they don't, that's a team you could beat. It's a team you could beat for sure. They don't have superstars littered throughout the roster where every time you play them, they're going to take over a game. It's not the Penguins. The Penguins, even when they are at their weakest, the Sabres ran into this earlier in the year. The Penguins could be weak, and Crosby and Malkin just decided to take that game over. The Kings don't have that. The Kings do not have that. And in goal tonight, they're not even going with their number 1. So the Sabres will get a little bit of the benefit there. Although they're more of a 1A, 1B situation. So you tell me who you want to call the 1A. Darcy Kemper has been their better goaltender this year in the numbers. Neither have been great. .899 save percentage for Kemper, .892 save percentage for David Rittich. If you look at goal save of expected, Kemper's a little bit more middle of the road, ranking in the low 20s, while Rittich is 39th out of 57 in the NHL this year for goals saved above expected. So Rittich has been the lesser goaltender, and he is who is going to play tonight against the Buffalo Sabres. So not like a crazy distortion between Kemper and Rittich, but I think this is the goaltender you would rather play in this game tonight. So when looking at the Kings lineup for tonight's game, for what we have so far, you're going to have a top line of Kopitar, Alex Tuch, who we didn't mention is also decent offensive player. Adrian Kempe on that top line. Philip Deneau, Trevor Moore, Kevin Fiala on line 2. Quentin Byfield with Alex Lafreniere and Warren Foegele in the third line. And then Samuel Helenius, Trevor Lewis, and Tanner Jeannot is going to be line 4. The blue line, still missing Drew Doughty, is kind of a tough-nose blue line, but I still think you could get them, especially with some speed. I just don't know if the Sabres are going to have that tonight. Mikey Anderson, Vladislav Gavrikov is the top pair. Joel Edmondson and Brant Clark is the second pair. Jacob Moverer and Jordan Spence is the third pair. So not a star-studded blue line, especially without Drew Doughty, who, by the way, I don't think is the same player these days anyway. I think Doughty's been very overrated for many years now because we remember what he used to be, and I think he hit a wall by the time he hit about 30. He got a little bit of a bounce back after. None of this matters because he's not playing against the Sabres tonight anyway. When we come back, what do the odds say about tonight's game? And we'll get to my sneaky parlay of the game. Let's hit on it. I got a little bit over a plus 1,000 parlay for tonight's game. So not the biggest long shot in the world, but also less likely to happen than not. But I got 3 bets that I like for tonight's game all ahead here on the Locked On Sabres podcast with Joe DiBiase. Today's episode of Locked On Sabres is presented by FanDuel Sportsbook. Tackle the NFL action all season long with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of a game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to get started. You get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. It's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the National Football League. Alrighty, final segment here of the Locked On Sabres podcast. Let's look at some of the odds for tonight's game between the Sabres and the Kings. 10:30 puck drop. So credit to you if you are willing to stay up for tonight's game, or maybe you're like me who's going to record the game and watch it back tomorrow morning. So let's look at some of the odds for tonight's game, and we'll get to my parlay as well. The Sabres are an underdog in this game. They are plus 136 on the money line. I actually thought they would have been a little bit more of an underdog in this game. The Kings at minus 164. For you non-bettors out there, if you bet 164 on the Kings, you would win 100. If you bet 100 on the Sabres, you'd win 136. Is how that works. The over-under set at 5.5 for tonight's game, with the juice being on the over at minus 122. So, what I like for tonight's game, looking at the odds. I hate to say it, but I'm going to try to bet with my head here, not with the heart. I like the Kings in this game. I think they should be favored by more. I do not think that the lineup news about the Sabres is accurately reflected in the way the odds are currently set. Now, of course, that's not just based on the lineup and roster, although it should dictate a good amount of it. It's also which money's coming in where, who's betting who. So that's where it sits right now. Minus 164 for the Kings, plus 136 for the Sabres. I'm going to go to the puck line, though. If you know what the puck line is, minus a goal and a half. So you're basically betting the Kings to win by 2 or more. If you bet the Sabres, you'd be betting the Sabres to lose by 1 or win the game. I'm going to take the Kings. Minus a goal and a half. So the Kings to win by 2 goals or more at plus 152. So you're getting plus money on that front. I'm throwing that in for my first leg of my 3-leg parlay. Kings minus a goal and a half on the puck line. I just don't think the Sabres are going to be able to hang. This is a good hockey team. Yes, you could beat them, but I think given the way the lineup looks, I'm not confident. I'm going to go under 5.5 goals, in part because I kind of predict the Sabres will adopt the mindset that I laid out in the last segment of lock it down, play defensive. Let's try to win this game 2-1 because we don't have our best offensive players. That's my guess for how the Sabres are going to try to play hockey in this one. So with that being said, I'm going to go under 5.5 goals. And then finally, I am going to bet on JJ Peterka, but I'm not going to bet him to score because of the under bet being here. I'm going to bet Peterka to have 3+ shots on goal. I think his line with Ryan McLeod and Isak Rosen, Peterka is going to shoot the puck a lot. I think he's got lesser line mates. I think the onus is going to be on him a little bit more to score goals. He might have to play around the perimeter a little bit. And the game plan B, Peterka's going to shoot it, try to snipe, and we'll have the other two crash the net and go for a rebound. I think Peterka is going to lead the team in shots tonight, so I'm going him 3+ shots on goal in combination with under 5.5 goals total, and then the Kings minus a goal and a half. All that together for plus 1,108. I had to think about how to say that for a second. Plus 1108. There we go. So 10 to win, 110, 100 to win, 1,000, 108, and so on and so forth. That's what I got for my sneaky parlay for tonight's game. And enjoy it. If you're staying up late, if you're waking up tomorrow morning, I'm going to try to look through the text club tomorrow morning as the game's progressing. So try to be in timeline order as best as possible. And we'll see what we get for the first Sabres After Dark version of the season. Enjoy the game. We'll talk to you after it's over. We'll recap it, and we'll start looking ahead to the Ducks and the Sharks thereafter. That'll do it for us today here in the Locked On Sabres podcast. You want to check out our text club, join subtext.com/LockedOnSabres is the place to sign up for that. If you want to check out one of our sister shows, one of our many sister shows, Locked On Fantasy Hockey. Steal and Flip have got you covered all season long, including this week, on all your daily fantasy tips and your season-long fantasy tips for hockey. And then Joe Marino's got you covered on Locked On Bills as the Bills enter their bye week. Thanks for listening to Locked On Sabres podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.